Look at the other theme
That's
of
good
the
news.
day, which I'm calling the banking farrago or farago. Did you get what
Very
I've done
good.
there? I was
Very
taught
good.
by the best. My job is words. Now, we've got a number of different stories. We've got Nigel is coming on the show in just a moment, but he's in the Sunday Telegraph talking about this new website he's set up to help other people who have been debanked.
Yeah.
We've also got this extraordinary story in The Sun on Sunday. Grant Shapps reveals he and his entire family have been hit by the debanking scandal. And then we've got a story on the front of the Sunday Times. Bad boys of Brexit claim they were debanked like Farage. This is talking about Aaron Banks and Andy Wigmore. People didn't speak about it back then because they were worried they were going to be debanked by other banks and their credit rating would fail. I mean, Farage has played a blinder on this campaign from a newspaper perspective, hasn't he?
Oh, he's been extraordinary. I mean, he's being called the most influential political figure since Margaret Thatcher, and in many ways he is. And for a lot of ordinary people, they'll be saying Farage is our champion. There is nobody else in government like him.
Are you worried about this, having been the editor of quite a right-wing newspaper, that you might be targeted?
Oh, totally, and I'm sure I have been. I'm absolutely certain that I have been, because, you know, my problem with this is it's coming from a position, the banks are coming from a position where, you know, the country's institutionally racist, which I don't personally believe, where, you know, there is no diversity, where there's no... And they're all signing up to these schemes and signing into these kind of woke schemes, basically, and then putting them into action. And it's basically undemocratic.
It's this policy of if you don't agree with me, then you're cancelled.
100%.
I mean, what happened to agreeable disagreement, which is what we try
Well,
to on this channel,
I personally think cancellation should be a hate crime. I personally think that.
Well, talking about cancellation, the Mail on Sunday, I mean, it is slightly silly season-ish, but it's a good read, have come up with a woke list 2023. Who's in it? And more importantly, who isn't, Martin?
Well, there's Dame Alison Rose finds us way in there, which you wouldn't be surprised.
That, yeah.
At #1, we have the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Oh, yes. The Archbishop of Woke.
The Archbishop of Woke, who, as we know, put aside £100 million of church money at the beginning of the year.
Actually, that reminds me, I should ask Priti Patel about what she thinks.
Yes, to investigate the church's links to slavery. I mean, that £100 million, I'm sure all of the parishioners all over the country where churches are closing, hundreds of churches are closing, they're having to share, because I'm sure they're really pleased that £100 million being put aside for
the pews are emptying and they're going on about diversity and inclusion.
Well, going on about ancient history.
A few people not in there. I noticed Carol Vorderman isn't in that woke list.
No, which I'm very surprised about.
Some interesting interactions with her on Twitter over the weekend. So maybe they'll do a woke list Mark II, and we can look forward to that.